Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am out and about right now. Just got to stop at the grocery store for some bananas and some other things. And I thought this might be a good opportunity for me to show you what greasing the groove is all about. If you've been following me on Instagram, you may have seen me greasing the groove a bit on the train, such as when I do pull-ups on the luggage rack like this. And of course, the conductors don't really like it when I do that, but they're typically not around. And when passengers aren't around, I like to also do L-sits and even dips between the seats like this. But my greasing the groove continues even after my train rides, like today when I'm stopping at the grocery store after work. As I go to get my shopping cart, I don't just grab it, I first stop and I bust out a set of dips right here on the shopping cart corral. I don't do the set to failure though. Instead, I only shoot for about 50% of my max, meaning if I can do 16 reps, I'm only aiming for about 8 reps. And I'll explain why that is later. So I grab my shopping cart and go do whatever shopping I need to do. And in today's case, I only needed a few odds and ends that we were short on, so it only took me about 10 minutes in the grocery store. I checked out, put the groceries in my car, but when putting the shopping cart back, I also made sure to stop and bust out another set of dips before going back to my car. Again, just like before, I'm only going to 50% of my max because that is something you always want to keep in mind when you're doing greasing the groove, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But I completed this set, and I did get a weird look from someone walking to their car. But you know what? I think everyone should be doing dips at the shopping cart corral. The drive home wasn't too long, it's only about 10 minutes to the grocery store, and I caught a nice sunset. And when I got home, my wife and daughter wanted juice, so I grabbed some oranges, cut them up, and used this trusty hand juicer. In the middle of making the juice, I decided to do another set of dips, this time right here in the kitchen at the corner of my countertop. These corner dips are a bit more challenging than parallel bar dips, so I kept it only to I think 5 or 6 reps, just 50% of what I could do for my max. And then I went back and finished juicing, and after dinner, when I went to the basement to feed my cats, I busted out yet another set of dips. So in the short 2-hour time span that I went to the grocery store and had dinner with my family, I was able to do 4 sets of dips, and it didn't really take any extra time, just 20 seconds here, 20 seconds there. So why would you want to use this method? Why would you want to do greasing the groove? Well, believe it or not, the reason is not to break down your muscles and repair them stronger, like a typical workout. The real reason why you want to use greasing the groove is to literally grease the groove, meaning improve the efficiency of your neuromuscular pathways. When you do any kind of movement, whether it's running or jumping or calisthenics or typing at a keyboard, any kind of movement is just muscle contractions, all right? Your brain has these cells called neurons, and the neurons, when they fire, they send electrical signals through your nervous system, like your spinal cord, to the skeletal muscles, and they tell the skeletal muscles to contract. That's all that signal is doing. And all movement is based on muscle contractions. The reason why that's important to know is when you're greasing the groove, you're taking a movement, like I used dips in the example in this video, and you're performing that movement frequently throughout the day. I recommend anywhere from 5 to 10 times throughout the day to about 50% of your max. So you don't go all the way to failure. Keep it around 50%, maybe a little more of what you're capable of in each set. And that frequency, what that's doing is every time you do a set to about 50%, you're not breaking down your muscles, you're not, tiring yourself out and exhausting yourself, but you're getting those neurons, those brain cells, to fire the electrical signals and sort of trailblaze a better neuromuscular pathway, making it more efficient so that your brain can signal to those muscles faster. And having more speed to initiate the muscle contraction is what you need to improve any movement and to build more strength. So for example, I used greasing the groove when I was struggling with pull-ups. And what I did was I took my pull-up bar, it was a doorway pull-up bar, and I hung it in a common doorway in my home. This was a different house that I'm living in now. This was several years ago. And it was a common doorway, and every time I'd walk through it throughout the day, my rule was I had to jump up and do 1 set of pull-ups. And this equated to maybe, 7 to 10 sets throughout the day that I would jump up and do pull-ups. but I could only do, I think, like 6 reps was my max at the time, and I was trying to increase my reps. So I would only do 3 or 4 reps per set. I wouldn't go till failure. I would just go about 50%, maybe a little more. And in just a couple weeks' time, my max reps had gone up dramatically because I had, again, like I just mentioned, I had improved the efficiency of that neuromuscular pathway. Another example of where I've used greasing the groove, and I still do to this day, is handstands. All right, I practice handstands on a daily basis and at a pretty high frequency, especially when I'm home. When I'm home, I am practicing handstands like every chance I get. So that's another example of greasing the groove. Now, what about warming up? You're probably wondering, like, shouldn't you warm up when you're doing this? But the truth is, since you're not doing these sets to failure, okay, and you're working on movements that you're already familiar with, but you're just trying to improve on, you really don't need to worry about warming up. In fact, when you do greasing the groove properly, and you're kind of doing it periodically throughout the day, every chance you get, you kind of stay warmed up a little bit. You'll notice that throughout the day when you do the sets, you feel pretty warmed up. You just jump right into it and go. Also, on the subject of warming up, although I personally like to warm up and I think it's important, the godfather of fitness here in the United States in the 20th century, his name was Jack LaLanne. He felt a little different about warming up. And when he was asked about it, do you need to warm up before a workout? His answer was typically, have you ever seen a lion warm up before it takes down a gazelle? So although warming up is good if you want to get the most out of a workout, when you're greasing the groove and you're not really doing a formal workout, you don't need to worry about it. You just kind of stay somewhat warmed up throughout the entire day. So that's greasing the groove in a nutshell. If you found this video to be helpful, please drop a like for me. That really helps me out. If you didn't find it helpful, then I apologize for that. Maybe you already knew about greasing the groove, but you should still consider subscribing anyways, okay? Because on my channel, minus the gym, I upload videos about bodyweight fitness that you can do at home or just about anywhere to keep fit. Plus, I love talking about healthy nutrition. All right then, I will see you in the next video, and I hope it goes well greasing the groove, all right? Look for opportunities throughout the day to work out. Talk to you later.